our station. I'm Professor Don Bush, and I've been a CPA for about 30 years and a professor for 30 years, and I've got fantastic ways to explain accounting. So if you want to learn accounting, you've come to the right place. So today we're studying cash flow statements, and cash flow statements are really cool. They're my favorite statement. I think they're fun to create and produce, and they can tell you so much about a business. So cash flow statements have 3 categories. Now you would think they should have 4, because if you've been watching these videos, you would know that there are 4 main ways to get money and 4 main ways to use money. And so why are there only 3 categories on the cash flow statement? Well, if it were up to me, I'd probably have 4 categories on the cash flow statement, but there are only 3. But I'll show you how it works out. It's really pretty easy. So here's the deal, is that we've got cash provided used by operating activities, and this would represent cash generating operations, so profitable operations, cash generating operations. And we have in the middle, we have cash provided by investing activities. Now in common language today, investing, that sounds like investing in the stock market, but that's not what is meant here. What we mean by investing is investing in one's own business, purchasing fixed assets and equipment to upgrade your own business, purchasing long-term assets, or selling long-term assets. So there's the second category. So coming down here to the third category, cash provided used by financing activities. So this would be long-term debt, that is borrowing money, paying down long-term debt, and any transactions that involve owners. So this would be owner investments and owner withdrawals. So out of our 4 ways to get money and our 4 uses of money, one of them is up here in operating activities. Another one here is in investing, and there's actually the remaining 2 here in financing activities. So here's how it all works. So cash provided by operating activities. Now we start out with net income, and I hope you know by now, studying accounting, that net income is done on the accrual basis. It's not done on a cash basis. So we recognize revenue when we have earned the money, when we've done our job, and we're trying to match revenue and expenses together, so it's not on a cash basis. So what we do is we start out with net income, even though it's on an accrual basis, and we add and subtract non-cash income statement items. So, and there can be a lot of them too, and they're sometimes a little hard to remember, so it takes a little practice. And then what we do is we add or subtract changes in current assets, and we add or subtract changes in current liabilities. And the result, after we've done all that, would be operations on a cash basis. Or in other words, we've transformed this accrual-based net income into a cash-based number. So coming down to the second section here, cash provided used by investing activities. Sometimes this can be a little tricky of a section to figure out. But what we're doing here is we're adding or putting down as a positive number the sale of long-term assets, property, plant, and equipment, and we're subtracting out the purchases of long-term assets, property, plant, and equipment. Now myself, I like to see businesses investing in themselves, so I like to actually see this as a negative number here, that is purchasing long-term assets, property, plant, and equipment. And then in the third section, cash provided used by financing activities. This is where the company is borrowing money on a long-term basis or paying down long-term debt. And also included in this section are any transactions that involve owners. For instance, selling common stock to owners. That brings money in by the sale of common stock, an owner investment. And we subtract out owner withdrawals, and oftentimes these are dividends. Dividends and owner withdrawals are the same thing. And this last section, surprisingly, is usually the easiest one to figure out. Now, after we've done all this and we get 3 totals, we total this all up and we get the net change in cash. Now, one thing I like to do is I'd like to show you guys why this all works. And I wish I would have understood this when I was in school. It would have made understanding this cash flow statement a lot easier. And don't be alarmed by this. It's a lot easier than it looks here. Well, it all starts out with the accounting equation. Assets equals liabilities plus equity. So hopefully you understand and know this. This is the balance sheet equation. Now with these assets, what we can do is we can divide assets up into cash and all other assets. So we're separating out the cash because we're trying to figure out, well, why does this cash flow statement work? So cash plus all other assets equals liabilities plus equity. So we still have this accounting equation intact. Now what we're going to do is take these all other assets and move them to the other side. So to do that, we've got to subtract all other assets from both sides. And that's why we have down here in the next line here, minus all other assets. So we have to subtract them to make this work. And then finally, in this bottom line here, I've got these triangles. And so what do these triangles mean? Well, this is kind of an engineering or a science concept here. And the triangles stand for the word delta. And delta means change. At least that's how it's used in engineering. So the change in cash is equal to the change in liabilities plus the change in equity minus the change in all other assets. And that is what we're after here. We're after the change in cash. In fact, look at this, the bottom line of the cash flow statement, which would end up being right there. Net change in cash, that's our bottom line. So change in cash equals change in liabilities plus change in equity minus the change in all other assets. So when we're doing this cash flow statement, this explains a lot on why we are doing what we're doing. Why are we finding the differences between accounts payable and that kind of thing. So there you go, folks. So if this lesson helped you out, let me know. Hit that like button and the subscribe button.